Okay, so here we are sitting in town. There's my water tower. Yeah, it's a water tower. But more importantly, what's very nice is some people came in a while ago apparently and did a whole lot of murals in town. They just went and painted these most beautiful murals, and this is just an example. So it doesn't relate to anything, but all over buildings locally there are these different murals.
We're going to the shop,
and they're absolutely
but it's pissing like hell here. So gotta get some umbrellas, shit like that, because looks like in America even the rain comes big. So that's why everybody drives pickups and trucks and SUVs, because I think when the snow comes we can have an interesting time. Bye. So this is one of the nicer areas that we have in town. We saw this while we were driving past and decided to shoot a little video of the area to show what it looks like here. So it's kind of cool, kind of neat. Very nice houses. God, they are nice. So we'll turn around in a second and I'll move the camera to a different position and do a second video. It's a very long street, but it gives you a good idea of what the kind of houses are that we have here. There's some pretty nice houses here. It's very beautiful. This is like typical of small town America. Very neat, very clean, well maintained roads, etc. So it's kind of cool. Nice Dodge Charger there. So there are some. It's very weird. One thing we noticed that is the case here is image really means nothing. As much as in South Africa your car defines who you are, here it seems that nobody cares. There are people that are well established that drive old cars and people that are fairly poor that drive fancy cars, but it makes no difference. It seems nobody judges you by the car or the fancy house, etc. So that's something. It's a bit of I suppose it's like a main street type thing here. Just more houses. This is more the average house look in our area. This is more kind of what it looks like as you drive through. Some houses are very, very neat and well done, and then right next door you can have a house that looks a little bit dilapidated. It all depends on the people staying. So there seems to be a mixture of class. You can't really find the poorest areas and the richest areas too easily, because people kind of intermingle, mix and stay. Like that house has been redone. There's a nice pretty little house, a lot of potential. That's Bobo's house, I suppose. Here's a house with a flag on, which is very common here. So it all depends really on the people staying there and how well they want to maintain their houses. Like here comes a house with a nice big American flag in the back, very neat, very cute, very quaint. But then right next door there's this one and it looks a little bit dilapidated. But you've got to keep in mind that we have a lot of snow here, etc. So to keep a house maintained is almost like an annual affair. So that's why you see a lot of houses that are not perfectly maintained, but that at the end of the day, there's a guy with a whole lot of trinkets and shit outside his house. That's also a common driving American style. I don't know what on the right we've got corn, a lot of corn in this area. In fact, it's common for everybody. Every time we go out, everybody eats corn on the cob. It's very, very popular. I've got some shit growing on the left. I have no idea what that is. Some stuffs. But this is just a bit of country driving. So they're about, the kennel is about 4 kilometers or 4 miles or whatever, 4 kilometers from our house. Check out the kennels for Jackie. So apparently it's here.
Yeah.
This is where the kennels are. I don't know how it works or where the dogs go, but I see sheepses. Oh yeah, bed and biscuit. Katski's bed and biscuit. So the road leading to our house. So we are within less than 3 kilometers probably from our house. And this is what I'm trying to illustrate. We live pretty much in town as far as distance is concerned, but also pretty much in a country setting as far as the location is concerned. So it's kind of cool to cover. This is why I keep saying it's a bit like Smallville, because you're literally in the country, and you're literally in between all these cornfields and farms and barns and silos and stuff, and you drive 1 kilometer and you get to your house. It's like kind of really cool. So it's dead quiet at night where we are. There's hardly any noise, and because of the double glazing, the double windows for the cold, it's also extremely quiet in the houses, so you don't really notice that you have people and activity around you, even when it is as little as there might be. So this gives you a good idea of the kind of environment we were fortunate enough to got to settle in. So yeah, anyway, enough of that already. So now you get an idea, but this is just to give you an idea. Look at these cornfields, are just everywhere, and they're huge. It's not like they're just small little patches. Corn is apparently a big thing here, and the other thing that's pretty much the national thing of Wisconsin is, of course, so-called cheese curds. I personally don't like that kind of cheese. We're just driving in the opposite direction to show you the other side. It's kind of a camera. It's kind of really cool. So I love this look, because it really looks so small town old America. It's like amazing to be here, and the roads are constantly empty, clean. We don't have any protests and crap like that, so it really helps a lot. But it's absolutely when it's going to happen, whether I'm going to end up in jail here or behind the desk. But this is the Beaver Dam Police Department. There's a good chance we're going to end up downtown. It kind of gives you an idea. It almost feels like a 60s American film, like kind of Banshee or one of these like rural Hicktown sheriff cop shows could play off here. It's just absolutely stunning. So we're still setting up, so we don't have much fancy stuff. Pretty much just the couch and the lounge. We've set up our little office already. So we have these 2 desks, one each, basically just back to back. So that's where we do our little bit of work now. It's our kitchen. And of course Jackie digging in the dirt again. So we've got a little dining room thing. Here's the auntie. Auntie's here too. Going down the passage, we've got the spare room. The houses are a bit dark here, I must admit. It's just, I think this is so-called block-out curtains. So, spare room, obviously the bathroom, and then this is my room, girls. So the invitation's always open. Anybody from here, we can also go down into the basement. Now I'm going to walk carefully. It's a little bit of a steep thing here. So this is how the basements work here. Basically, it's the whole space of the house. Downstairs, unoccupied, cement floors, everything. So the idea is that we're going to build Fox walls, like a door here, to separate the laundry. Walls down these poles, so we can create a little film studio in this environment. Got enough lights and power down here. And in this corner, basically from the central heating unit through to this corner, is going to become my personal man cave. Girls think Mr. Grey, think chains, think whips, think all that kind of beautiful stuff. So this is our washer and dryer that we bought. It's our own now. So pretty much they're quite big. They go up to about my waist. So they're quite serious stuff. So in South Africa you'd be paying around the, I suppose, 20,000 Rand mark for each. We couldn't even afford things like this when we opened Jackie's laundry. They were too expensive. And here the total between the two was view. So as you can see, so we're in beautiful Fox Lake, and look what we found right here. It's a Fox Lake Walker Tower. So Muscat's going apeshit here. Another big issue is fine here is that here we are driving, and if you look at the sunlight, and if you look at the sun position, etc., it pretty much feels like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It feels like the road's supposed to be busier. It feels like you're still supposed to be out. But the fact is, it's actually 7:30 at night. In fact, 25 to 8 in the evening. So this happens when you're quite far north anyway. But it kind of just feels strange, because here we are driving in what seems to be late afternoon sunlight. And the fact is, it's almost 8 o'clock at night. So that would explain why I'm sometimes awake at 12 o'clock at night. Now this camera also looks a bit okay. That makes the road a bit better. So that's sometimes why I'm up at 12 o'clock at night, because it goes dark, it's 2 hours and it's midnight. So it's kind of strange. So yeah, that's another thing that we experience is probably a little bit driving back up the little street in Fox Lake. See, there's a fire department here, like a school here, craft and bake and whatever. All kinds of stuff in town. It's very nice to see these little towns. And the speed limits are 25 and 15 miles per hour around the schools. And if you are caught speeding around the school area, you could drive out to Fox Lake, a little bit north of us, as I said, about 10 kilometers away, 7 miles. The painting is Muscat, not Jackie. So I'm behaving myself, not touching the girl at all. So this is pretty little Fox Lake, also a beautiful place. We'll film up this little main street thing here, and then on the way back I'll film the other side. It's just a lovely little place. Population of 1,651 people, so it's really a tiny little place. Driving is a typical American roadhouse in Fox Lake where you can go and have munchies. So we haven't been into this part of Fox Lake, so we're checking it out. I'm hoping to find some bookies, but this is Wisconsin, so far it's been rather in the opposite direction. So as I said, a tiny little town, 1,500 people. So we come here to this one, what's it called, whatever, on the dam. We were here the other day. Kind of nice to travel 10 minutes out of town and to get into a new little town with a new little culture and their own little way of doing things. It's kind of cool. I thought we'd take you all for a spin. I can show you. It's also one of these little quaint little towns with the little restaurants and things on the sidewalk, etc. It's actually bloody nice here. So for those so inclined, we're busy leaving Fox Lake now. This is literally 15 seconds after the previous one. But on the side of the road up front you will see a county sheriff vehicle. So they have sheriffs, and they've got police, and they've got state police, and they've got state troopers, and so on. And this is the local Dodge County Sheriff vehicle standing there. Sign that says "Welcome to Beaver Dam," established in 1841. How's that for interesting? So been around since 1841. Now we're heading home, little country road. We're traveling at 55 miles per hour. You can do the conversion later. So again, it's just really, the roads are so smooth. The car, I'm driving a 3.9 litre V6 motor, and it's idling at the moment at 1,600 1,700 RPM, driving at 55. So this is why American cars can have 200,000 miles and it still run perfectly, because nobody accelerates hard, nobody rushes, the speed limits are reasonably low, the roads are fairly quiet, it's country roads, so cars really survive well. Our car is 85,000 miles on, that's close to 100,000 kilometers, and it's just absolutely perfect. You can't even hear the engine. We're idling away at the moment at 1,500 RPM, still doing 50 miles per hour, and it's a V6. So if you have a V8, it's so powerful and it turns over so slowly, it's like you've hardly used it by the time you've had it for 10 years.